going to show you today how to replace the roof vent cap for your plumbing vent up on the roof. These normally shouldn't need to be replaced, but they can get old and crack and get brittle from the sun. This is a brand new cap right here, but it doesn't fit where the old cracked cap was. The new design doesn't fit with the old vent itself. The cap design is different. So we have no choice but to replace the entire vent itself, put a new base on. We just need a few tools, a few basics, some Dicor, a couple of putty knives, a screw gun, and some mineral spirits, and we'll show you how to do it. We're going to start by removing the old Dicor with a putty knife, and you're just going to start prying that up. Now, as soon as you start getting that Dicor off there, you're going to see that there are 6 screws that hold down this vent up here, and you're going to need to get the Dicor out of these screws. So I'm just using a sharp tool here to kind of pick out the excess Dicor, and now I can unscrew each of these screws. We're going to take all 6 of those out of there. Now you can see my primary task here isn't getting lots of Dicor off yet. The first thing I want to do is expose these screw heads and clean them all out so I can get my screw gun in there and take them out. So you can see I've got 4 of them out so far, 2 to go. Once I've gotten all 6 of those screws out, it's time to pry this off, and I'm going to do that by putting my large putty knife right down in here, prying this up. And there it is. I've removed the old one. Now it's time to clean off all that old Dicor. We're going to get off the big stuff with the putty knife. And even old Dicor stays pretty soft, but it's pretty tough stuff, so it'll take you a little bit of wiggling and pushing to get this off, but you want to get as much off as you can with the putty knife. Okay, now that we've got the old Dicor pried off as much as we can with the putty knife, time to clean the rest of it with some mineral spirits. That's going to make sure that everything is completely clean here. We get a nice good bond with the new Dicor that we're going to use to put the new vent on. So we're just going to take a paper towel and we're going to start rubbing and cleaning. We want this right down to the clean fiberglass as much as possible. Okay, after you wipe that down with mineral spirits and get it all nice and clean, just take a dry rag and just get rid of any debris that's around here and dry that mineral spirits off. And then we're also going to let it just sit and dry for a few minutes to make sure any mineral spirits has evaporated. Doesn't take long, it evaporates quickly, but just make sure everything is nice and clean and there's no debris up here. Now we're going to put our vent cover over here, and you're probably going to notice that the holes don't line up with the old holes. They just don't make them the same as they used to. It depends on how old your old vent was and whether it's the exact same style as the new one. This one has a slightly larger diameter than the other one, so the holes don't line up. So it doesn't really matter worrying about lining up the holes. We're simply going to drill new holes with the self-tapping screws that we took out earlier. Okay, now it's time to lay down a bed of our nice Dicor lap sealant, which is self-leveling. If you've been an RVer for any length of time, you're familiar with Dicor. It's what seals up just about everything on the roof. We've got our caulk gun already loaded up, and we are going to put down a real nice bed of Dicor here. We don't need to worry about these old holes here. They're going to get covered over right now. So we're just going to put lots of Dicor on here. Just make a nice circle around here. Don't worry about using a little too much. If anything with Dicor, better a little too much than not enough. Okay, now we're going to take our new vent, put it right down here, centered over the top of our plumbing vent. And we're just going to wiggle it back and forth, and you can see that Dicor is pushing out all around here. It's exactly what we want. I'm going to seat that real nicely. Just a little firm pressure, not too much. Now you can see we've got that nice ring of Dicor out there, and that thing is seated beautifully. Okay, now we're going to put these screws right back in here, and they are self-tapping. You don't need to worry about where the old holes are. We're not going to tighten that down too much because we're talking about plastic here. We don't want to turn too hard. We're going to tighten those up by hand. So let's go ahead and put all 6 of them in. Okay, we've got all 6 of our screws in, and you can see there's a nice fat bead of Dicor sticking out all around there. Doesn't have to be that much, but I put a lot on to make certain that it comes out all the way around. And now we're going to take our Dicor and we're going to put it on top of these screw holes. And if you're familiar with Dicor, you know that it's going to flatten out nicely and level out, be nice and smooth. Now we could just clip that top on, that cap on, and be done here, but I like to err on the side of too much Dicor, so I'm going to add more all along here. I want this completely sealed. Okay, we've got all our Dicor on, and again, you don't need to use that much. I just prefer to put it back the way it looked when it came from the factory, which is completely covered over to the base of the vent. Now we're going to put our new cover on here, and you can see that this little plastic piece sticking up here lines up with this hole here. We want that screw hole to line up. So we're going to set that on there, looking down through to make sure we see the hole. And we're going to click this in place. Line up that hole. Drop in our Phillips head screw. And there it is. Now here's one that I did day before yesterday. And what I want to show you here is what self-leveling lap sealant does if you haven't already used it. Gravity just kind of lets it lay down perfectly flat and smooth. You can see that there after 2 days. There are no ridges or bumps. I don't know if you can see it kind of in the shade here a little bit. But that's what Dicor does. Really nice clean job, and it's sealed right up around the base of the vent there. So again, this is the one we just did. These little bumps that you see, the little unevenness in the Dicor, that's just going to level itself out within the next couple of days. That whole job took less than 30 minutes.